had a really good day yesterday. Not as good today. Didn't think. Well, yesterday was an off day. The day before that was really good. You would think we would have, a little more energy. I would hope. I told them just a while ago. I mean, if you're only excellent when people are watching, it's really not excellence. It's just performing. And I don't know. I didn't think we had. There were spurts of practice that were really good, and then others that I thought we just kind of got through. So we've got to improve that and make sure that every rep, every day must be stacked in order to win these competitive close games that we're going to be in. And just kind of, I may feel different when I watch the film, but we did take care of the ball. Thought in the third and short period, defense really, they had great energy there, and really two guys really flashed, and that's Atkins and Dees. They really flash, man. When they decide to hit a gap, it's in a hurry. Obviously, the front had to play well for that to free them up also. But I don't know. I thought they really dominated that drill, and that's one where again you go back to some of the reasons we haven't had the success we've wanted. It's been some of those critical downs, like those 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s. And we've got to be excellent in those on offense and defense. Today, defense was really dang good in those. I think we had 8 reps of it, and we were probably 2 of 8, which is not going to be enough to win games. So we've got to go back and look at that. Obviously, we don't have everything in right now, but still, you've got to execute those and get those first downs. But also, it's really nice to see the defense not give those up. So it's thought the Skelly period was an offensive period that went really well. Thought our quarterbacks were sharp, receivers were sharp, and completed a lot of balls. But we should, and that's an offensive drill, and that's what you should do. That should be the expectation. So again, I thought one of our best days in a long time. 2 days ago. Today, up and down, but still some good things.
Jason, start here. Poke and JG.
You talk about, we've been talking young guys on defense, and there's a lot of newcomers on this defense, some older guys too, but how important is it for these young guys to come in and push and step up like they've done so far in camp?
Yeah, it's like I've said, there's no greater motivator than competition, somebody being behind you. The one thing I love that DJ and our defensive staff are doing, there are no 1s, 2s, 3s. You'll look out there one time, we say offensively, all right, let's go with this one group or whatever we call this one group, and hey, he may have 3, 4, 5 freshmen out there, and I love that, and he's just constantly mixing that up and making sure that everybody knows, man, it's a competition and it's what you do. And so I think the fact that we've added some depth there is going to make us all better.
Hugh, I guess how normal is it to go through fall camp where you have days like today where it doesn't go well, you don't like how it went? I mean, is it sort of built in, you know it's going to happen, and does it provide maybe an opportunity to sort of learn from it?
Yeah, you wish you could sit here and say that is something that you could prohibit from happening, because you as a coach look at yourself first and all right, why did we not get them ready to have the same energy that we had 2 days ago? Now, 2 days ago it was cloud cover and I don't know, it felt like 68 degrees and you're inside because it was raining, and so the juice was a little easier. It actually got a little humid today, not crazy hot, but a little bit for us, and we stayed out the whole time, which we hadn't done yet, which I think was a good barometer for, we probably need more of that to get ready. So I think you know, being in this as long as most of us coaches have, you have some of that in fall camp. You anticipate it usually around days like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. So it's a little early for us to have this is one of the tougher stretches, you know, and I don't know if they think they're saving it because, you know, maybe I made a mistake in telling them last night in team meeting, you know, these next 3 days is gonna be real now. You got Wednesday, Thursday, we're gonna get after it, we're gonna go some competitions and have one live period each day, and then Friday we're gonna have a scrimmage. So this 3 days is a very physical, tough stretch, and I don't know, maybe they said, hey, let's save a little in the tank subconsciously, I don't know, but you know, excellence starts with a mindset, and we've got to show them that on the film that it wasn't the same, I don't think, straining that we had a couple of days ago.
Yeah, JG with Auburn Sports, Auburn on 3. Yeah, I'm going to have you had enough time, enough data, enough reps to kind of assess your quarterbacks, and specifically Jackson, that he's, you know, on target, doing the things that you want him to do, being the person you want him to be?
Really pleased. Met with him yesterday, and the quarterback coaches on again. It's sad but true, but you know, I get to go in the rooms and only talk about the bad stuff, and that's just and I know they get it, but man, you know, I get paid to try to fix the stuff we're not doing well, so that's usually the only time I have from go to room and say we have to get this fixed, and there's not a lot that he's a little greedy in the RPO game a bit, but I think we can get that corrected pretty simply, and I don't think he did that today. After yesterday's meeting, I don't remember a single one that he tried to force and make something happen. So I'm really pleased with his decision making. I think the ball is coming out quick, and I think he's using his legs when he doesn't feel comfortable with what he sees, and creating, you know, again, everything's not team periods, but he's creating explosive plays when he does move out of the pocket. He's throwing really well on the run. So to this point, I'm really pleased with where he's at.
Peter Rackensale.com. What have been your impressions on the offensive line that got the returning group coming back? And then how confident are y'all that you have your 5 kind of set at this point?
Yeah, I think it's really a 6 to set. Add Too Tall in there, whether we throw him in there at tackle or at guard, or and then, you know, trying to find out who's that 7th, 8th. I would say Dylan Cinda's working his way into it pretty good, and then trying to, you know, let's find us 2 more that we need to travel and be ready to go. So I feel pretty good about those first 6 for sure, and I do think Dylan's had a really good camp.
Dan Peck, ESPN 167 and Auburn. You had a lot of first-year players last year. Is there anyone who's really impressed you with the leap they've taken since the end of last year, with the taste of college football they got compared to now?
Yeah, Malcolm and Perry jump off the page as much better route runners, understanding depth of routes, how your releases, how to shade routes against man zone. I think both of them have improved themselves well there. Defensively, Amaris Williams is starting to kind of understand, you know, last year he just used to being so athletic coming out of high school. He was just going to kind of, well, I think I want to rush outside this time, but no, you can't do that in this call. And so I would say he's starting to understand it and get it better also. Robert Woodyard is doing some good things also. Heck, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. Not talking about the new guys, obviously, just the ones we had, but Jay Crawford is, man, he had a solid year last year, but continues to flash it in one-on-ones at playing the ball and with good technique and not so handsy as he was last year. So there have been several of those guys that I think D. like just moving him inside, letting him stay there too.
Nick King, Auburn undercover. How has Alex been progressing? Is he at the point right now where you guys want him to be for the season?
Today and yesterday, he was automatic, didn't miss a kick. Again, you're still monitoring his health. It's not that he's not kicking it well. It's just we want to maintain his weight and do whatever we can to support him and his doctors and doing that. Whether that means he needs to set out 2 days or we'll do whatever it is to try to make sure he's ready to go because he's really pretty automatic. I will say Towns kicked it really well today too. We were in team drives today and had a 52-yarder, and Towns put it right down in the middle, and so that was good to see.
Ferguson and Phillip.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Hugh, we haven't talked a ton about the tight ends, but just what do you see from that group? It seems that Preston's a guy that we've seen a little bit more in practice when we're out there.
Preston's coming on, made another really nice catch today. Believe strongly in Frazier, obviously. I think those two guys, along with Tate in our big sets. Tate's adding great value in those, so I think those 3 guys, we need to keep them healthy. Ryan G has flashed as a freshman to be able to do some things for us. He's a little dinged right now and was not at practice today with a bruised shoulder, but the bulk's going to be laid on Preston and Frazier and Tate in certain packages.
You, 2 years ago, the wide receiver position didn't look so hot. And you've gone from there to where you are now with the talent and the depth you have now. Could you just talk about that journey, so to speak? That obviously was a priority, just how you managed to get to this point from where you were.
Yeah, this sounds, I don't mean for this to sound egotistical in any way, but it's truth. I've been at 4 different universities, and at all 4 we've been able to have 10 win seasons or more at every one of them. Well, when I look at those, we had receivers that could win one-on-ones and operate in our system, and a quarterback that could get it to them. And that, if you look back at those seasons, that was a huge part of it. And so I knew when I got here that was a priority is revamping that room and recruiting it. And Marcus and Maurice and Heath, those receiver coaches, along with the rest of the recruiting staff, did a really nice job in year 1, obviously, and then in year 2, I think Sam was a heck of a pickup out of high school, and the portal, obviously Eric and Horatio, to add to that room. And so it is definitely a totally different room than it was when we arrived. Thus, the expectations are higher.
Adam Cole, the Montgomery Advertiser, you talked last week about the offensive line and that, up to maybe 6 of them are NFL caliber guys. Just kind of on a similar note to the wide receiver question, just what's that say about the roster building that you guys have done, and also maybe the role Jake Thornton's had in just kind of developing that unit?
Yeah, Jake and Hiller and Cam Stutz, who are our O-line staff, it takes a lot, and our personnel staff. Aaron Pittard, who's everybody in that personnel room is kind of assigned to a position, and he's assigned to the evaluation of those guys, whether portal or we've just hired another guy from the NFL to help us that we just named director of scouting of college scouting, that can help us also. But I think those guys have done a really nice job of evaluating and continuing to develop the ones we have. So it speaks a lot. I feel like we've got our best offensive line that we've had since we've been here, and it's got to show. We've got to find a way for those guys to protect and run the football. But the optimism is you feel like they have the ability to do that. Now we've got to get it
Hugh, how's the health of this team? Are any guys coming back from injury or anything?
Yeah, we got, it's camp. We got a lot of guys in yellow jerseys and guys that are not able to practice today, but you hope they're back in 2 weeks. Thanks to God, we hadn't had anybody that's out other than Devin Williams from the spring, but everybody else to this point would be expected to go. But there is a list of yellow jerseys out there right now, or a few guys that we had to hold out, and hopefully Jeremiah Cobb, they released him today to be out of a yellow jersey. He had a couple flashes of good runs, but hope to get all those yellow jerseys off, in a week's time, and hopefully lose nobody else before then.
You, Brian Matthews, Auburn Sports. Two-parter here. What is it about Dylan Cinda that he's improved to allow him to push up that depth chart? And then, secondly, what are the parameters of your scrimmage? Will be Friday night during the hair, ones versus ones. Sort of run us through that.
I think Dylan's deal really probably was the off-season Coach Dom. I think he looks quicker. His first step looks quicker. His strength looks better, and he's just kind of worked his way into that role, which it goes back to. I can there's just not been many old linemen to just walk into this league and play. You have the freaks like I've seen before with Laramie Tunsil and Michael Orr and Greg Little and some of those guys, but usually those offensive linemen take a year or 2 or 3, and Dylan's just working his way into that, and he's smart, and he's able to play both guard and center, and so I think that elevates his value in that. So, but I really think it's the off season with Coach Don that got him stronger and a little quicker.
So go Jay, Jason, Phillip, and we're done.
The second question was scrimmage. We'll try to get 30 plays with the ones, 30 plays with the twos, and probably about 20 with the threes. Hope we get some heat and then get to experience that, but probably won't push it, and then some special team work, but won't push it much past that probably in scrimmage 1, just based off the fact that we've gone Wednesday, Thursday. We're doing some good competitions. Today we're doing red zone lockout tomorrow, which will be a live period, and then try to hold that scrimmage down to about 30 plays per ones, twos, and probably 20 with threes. But saying that, most coaches, that 30 becomes 35, 40. But Dom's pretty good at that. Coach us 30, that's what we said, so he'll be in my ear.
Yeah, JG with Auburn Sports, Auburn on 3. John Cohen was talking maybe a month ago up there at the lake that on August 1st, a lot of things were going to change in recruiting, insinuated big changes were coming for you guys. Haven't really seen it so far. Tell me about what's changed for you guys since August 1st and what your roadmap is, I guess, between now and December, because you got some work to do.
Yeah, I think it's still, I don't know, it's kind of like poker. I don't know, everybody's, I haven't seen a lot, and y'all may know differently, but there haven't been a lot that I know of that really sent out something in writing, detailing exactly what they mean when they say this is going to be your share of whatever, whether it's NIL, whether it's revenue sharing. So I still think it's remains to be seen, and there's so many different dynamics, whether it's this is being signed over here in Congress, and I still am not clear as to what you really can do outside the revenue sharing portion. I know very clearly where we stand with that, and I know very clearly that John and his staff have done a great job of planning for outside NIL opportunities with funds we'll be able to go out and get our kids those deals. What I don't know how anybody can say with a straight face and without deceiving is, what does Deloitte say about those deals and the value of them for a high school kid? I'm pretty confident that the transfer kid has probably earned the right that you can say to him, you're going to get some outside NIL deals, and give samples of what's happened in the past for a similar player at that position, if that makes sense. The totally unknown for me is how do you even remotely say that to a high school kid when Deloitte cannot do that until they get to campus? And so I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying, but and maybe I'm saying too much, I don't know, but that's as real as I can put it. If you can't do that until they get to campus, then, you know, to me it's really very, very, very subjective as to what's truth and what's not outside the revenue sharing portion. And so we're still battling through that, but I'm comfortable we have the means to compete with most, because of the job that, again, our marketing and John's team have done, and we stand ready to go when we feel like we're not going to deceive anybody.
Jason and Philip, we're done.
You talked about a couple of new hires you guys have made in the front office side of things, and it's kind of trending more towards an NFL feel, but Will Redmond there. How valuable, though, are those guys scouting? Because you do have really, you got high school, you got your own roster, you got transfer. You have to have so many different eyes, don't you?
You know, I had a little turnover in a few areas, and I took all of that turnover and I put all those resources into personnel. You know, I was able to get Javon Hubbard, you know, who was the director of player personnel at Arkansas, who was that for me at Liberty, who I'm very comfortable with, to assist with Will here, and then to get Rex out of the NFL to assist us in that also, along with the other guys we already have that I really think do a nice job. So we've strengthened that portion of it, because I just think evaluations are going to be huge, and not just on the you know, I'm of the belief that whenever if it is just revenue sharing, you know, I don't know that you're truthfully going to be able to totally 85 are not going to be able to get all of that. And so you're still going to have to evaluate some of those, man, who are those others that we need to get that we see great potential in, that 6'6", 235-pound tight end that we think can be a tackle in time. I think there's a lot of that goes into this. And so we've tried to beef up that area in the building, and feel good about those guys that we brought on.
Last one.
Can you just talk about DeRon and giving him a scholarship and kind of maybe that what he did to earn that?
Yeah, Cameron. Yeah, man, it's first let me say that's always so exciting and also hurt some, because if you look at it, when we as a staff, there are really 4 guys that are so deserving, and we had 2 spots, and as you know, we already put Thompson on, and I hope you know that we put Thompson on a week ago, and then had one more spot, and it was a struggle, but when you factored in all of the dynamics of need and you know how he's performed, and again the others have too, and I did meet with those others before, and that's not the easiest, but I believe in being upfront, and you wish you could do it for all of those, but there's no question Cameron earned it. It was much needed for he and his family, for him to continue to go to school, and that plays a factor in it also. And excited, you can see the excitement in the players because they think the world
think Coach